What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over some advanced tips and tricks for the Galaxy Z Fold 6. A lot of these are also going to be available on other Samsung devices, such as the older Z Fold 5, as well as the Samsung Galaxy Ultras. So let's get to it. All right, first tip we got here, we're going to be going into the settings. This is going to help your phone run more smoothly when you have a bunch of apps open in the background. Kind of a hidden feature here. So we're going to be going down to device care right here. And the memory right here. It might take a little while to boot this up because it sometimes has to do an optimization real quick. And we're going to scroll down. And you can see right here, RAM Plus. Now I think by default it has it set to 4 or 6, I'm not sure, but I like to put this at 8 GB. So what this does is it uses your phone's storage space to provide virtual memory. So it essentially increases the amount of RAM that your phone has to have more apps in the background running. So right now the phone itself has 12 gigs of RAM. So if you put this up to 8, it's going to use the phone's storage to make a virtual RAM that'll allow you to have more apps running in the background, and it'll keep your phone running more smoothly essentially. Another tip is you can clear your RAM right here in the same settings. You can do a clear now, and it'll just clean up some of the background apps that are open. You might want to reopen some of your apps, like your messaging apps and whatnot, just in case they don't get messages because you incidentally close them. But a thing that we can do, and this is actually new with the One UI 6.1.1, is if you guys are familiar with modes and routines, and I'm probably going to do a full video on modes and routines later on down the line, so stay tuned for that. But there is a new routine that we can create. I have it here, where it essentially can optimize your phone, and it's going to do that exact same thing. It's going to clear the RAM, and in the routines, essentially routines is kind of like a, if this happens, then do this. So for this routine, I have it set 10 a.m. every day to optimize phone. And this option here is brand new. Like I said, they just came out with it on the latest and greatest update. So if you're on an older phone and you don't have the latest One UI, then you might not have this available. So what you can do in here, you set your time. So what I did was 10 a.m. every day. You could do every week or every month. And then here, we'll just go into edit so I can show you guys how this works. So you hit add a new routine, and I'm just going to do a quick search here for optimize. So optimize phone. Click save. I made it called optimize phone. So when you click save, and the modes and routines is something that comes with all Samsung phones, I believe. So you can see I have a bunch of them here, and I'll probably end up going through an entire video on how to essentially automate your phone. It's one of the things that I really like about Samsung devices that make them a little more customizable is things like modes and routines. And there's another app that's called Tasker, if you're familiar. It's a more advanced version. But I really like modes and routines because it's kind of dumbed down and it's built for Samsung phones. Next advanced tip and trick we got here are some display and video settings. So I'm going to go back into my settings here, and we're going to go down to display. And this is kind of a setting that I'm sure a lot of people are unaware even exists. So under screen mode, you see I have it set to vivid. Now it's at vivid, you can change your white balance, so you can kind of change how your screen looks as, warmer or cooler. But then this right here, this advanced settings, you could change your vividness. And I'm a straight up degenerate. I love my phone looking as absolutely vivid as possible. So I think it starts out in this setting here. So you can vivid up your phone a little bit to the max. Really like that setting. It just kind of makes your screen really just pop. Another display setting that's in display is if you don't have adaptive brightness turned on. If you click this off, it'll give you an additional setting here for extra brightness. So if, let's say you're outside and you need just like a little extra boost, you can manually turn off your adaptive brightness, max this out all the way. There we go. And then turn on your extra brightness here. Although I do like to have my adaptive brightness on, but just another setting that will pop up if you do not have adaptive brightness on and you need a little extra boost. And the final display setting that I'm going to be going over, this one is actually from the settings. It's in an advanced tab. So we're going to scroll down here, go to advanced features. We're going to scroll down here to video brightness. I like to keep my video brightness on bright. And what this does is if you're in any of these supported apps, so like YouTube or Netflix or Plex or Prime Video or your video player, it'll increase the brightness automatically for you if you're in these apps. And I've been slowly noticing that they've been adding more and more apps. Like they just added TikTok, they just added VLC. I don't think IMDb was there. I'm not even sure why this is considered a video app, but that's neither here nor there. It's really nice to have for YouTube and for me, Prime Video and Netflix and Plex. And the next tip and trick that I've got here, this is gonna save you some battery. If you go into your settings and you scroll down, we're going to go back to that category, the device care category. So device care. And if you come down here, this is going to save you some battery power. So right now I have mine set to standard. So you can set this to light. What this does is it is going to limit the CPU to a lighter state to prioritize battery over processing speeds. Now, I'm gonna be honest, when I have it set to light, I really do not notice a difference between standard. I've actually been testing out the standard and light for the last couple weeks to see if I can tell a difference, and I really cannot. And if you guys are concerned about gaming and whatnot and having this on light mode, do not worry. The game booster will automatically change this setting back to standard when the game needs more power so that you can still have the best of both worlds. Good battery life and then the power that you need when you have an application that really uses that processor, which most of the time is just going to be gaming. All right, the next tip and trick that we got here, this is going to make your phone feel more snappy. So we already went through some settings that are to make your phone feel a little snappier in my last video. Go ahead and check that out. I'll link that in the top right. And this is going to be kind of similar. When you touch and hold, there's a slight delay when you're trying to like essentially change a word or touch and hold on your keyboard and this is going to be under accessibility and interaction dexterity. So we're going to go down in the settings to accessibility. And then this one here, the interaction and dexterity. If you go down, you can see touch and hold delay. So I always set mine to 0.3 very short. I think the default setting is either short or medium, and that just is like you have to really hold on anything and it just makes the phone feel slow to me. So change this to very short if it's not already set to that. It'll make your phone feel much more snappy and speedy. All right, and the final tip and trick that I have for today is using Assistant in conjunction with Bixby. Just activate it here. And I'll show you guys how that works. So essentially you can set your default assistant. And I personally think that Google is a much smarter assistant. So here in my settings here, I'm going to go down to apps, choose default apps, and then digital assistant app. And I have mine set right now for Google instead of Bixby. Keep activating it here. So what you can do, so Google is very powerful for doing things like, if you have your keep notes or if you have reminders you need to set. And right now I'm actually using Gemini. So I can essentially say, hey Google, and there's that right there. So it can help me do things that Bixby most likely wouldn't be able to do, because we all know that Bixby is not the most powerful assistant in the world. So what you can do is if you go to your settings here and we scroll down to advanced features, and then we go to here at the top where it says Bixby. Keep activating that. And then what we can do here is we can set a wake-up voice. So this will enable you to use Bixby as well as having the Google Assistant. So I probably should change it to Hi Bixby. It keeps trying to activate. And the reason that I say we should use both is there's a very specific reason which can be pretty powerful. There are certain things on a Samsung phone that you can only do with Bixby and that you cannot do with the Google Assistant. So, for example, on a fold phone, you can do a split screen view. So in this case, I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm going to say, hey Google, open up Reddit and Kiwi browser in split screen view. And it's going to tell me that I can't do it.
I couldn't find Reddit and Kiwi browser on this device, but here is some information that might help.
And clearly they are. Here's Reddit right here. So Gemini can't even figure out if there's apps on this device. But anyway, so what we can do is we can say, hi, open YouTube Music on the left and Reddit on the right in split screen. So it essentially can do some commands that the Google Assistant cannot do. So it is nice to have both enabled so that you can do different tasks. And in a later video, I'm going to show you guys how to take that to advantage so we can use the Routines app and turn our phone essentially into a CarPlay in split screen mode when it connects to Bluetooth. It's pretty cool. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know down below. If you guys have any tips and tricks that you'd like to share, I'm all ears. I'll be doing some other kind of content down the road. I may probably do another video on Good Lock as well as the modes and routines. I've got the Pixel 9 Pro coming in hot, so I'm going to be doing some tips and tricks on that phone as well, maybe some camera comparisons. So subscribe to the channel, and as always, have a wonderful day.